Final chance to cast your votes of who you think will die. Yeah, I don't know. I know basically everyone dies at some point, but I don't know who will die first. That's fair. Okay, what are our new tips? Oh god, we have a lot of new tips. Seems like it's about all the past ones. Just notice that said Hojo, like Satoko. Hmm. From the June 1980 edition. On the afternoon of, at 2 p.m., office employee and his wife of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture disappeared after falling 27 meters from the observatory platform. Ah! Love that. Okay. From the observatory platform in Shirakawa Prefecture. Police and firefighters searched downstream and discovered the body of, at around 7 p.m. that evening. His wife has yet to be found. The search has run into difficulties due to the effects of Typhoon 3 from the previous day. It appeared a railing at the observatory that the landed on had broken, causing him to fall. The groundskeeping staff was questioned by the police in regards to facility deterioration, and if park maintenance was performed properly. No, that was kinda short. Not sweet. Yeah, Hojo couple's falling incident. The terminal illness death of Shinto priest Furude. From the June 1981 edition. On the afternoon of around 10 p.m. in the district of Hinamizawa village in Shishibone Prefecture, the Shinto priest of the Furude shrine passed away after an existing condition he was recovering from suddenly worsened. Parties close to the deceased said he was suffering from anxiety issues concerning the festival, which was to be held that day. Also, after death, his wife went missing, leaving behind a farewell note. The police and local youth association continue the search. However, given the presence of the farewell message and the fact that Onigafuchi Marsh is said to be bottomless, they have run into difficulties. Oof. Housewife murder. It wasn't reported in the newspaper. That's really it? Oh, jeez. Okay. Radio log. This is Okinamiwa Station calling Unit 3. Unit 3, please respond. This is Unit 3. Loud and clear. Backup is heading your way. Hold position until further instructions. Over. Roger, Unit 3 acknowledged. Requesting no headlights. Requesting radio silence. Station, the doctor has arrived. They want to carry it away. What's the order? Over. Acknowledged. Leave it to the doctor. Affirmative. Understood. Backup has arrived. Shouldn't we let them take a photo first? I think the Vic is done for. Pleasant. Good morning. Nice job yesterday, Kei-chan. You didn't do so badly yourself, Neon. Yesterday was fun. Oh, that's right. Keiichi-kun, thank you very much for Mr. Bear. I'm glad you like it. Don't use it as a pincushion, though. I wouldn't. Still chatting happily, we entered the classroom, but the moment I stepped into the room, a splashing sound and a nasty sensation. It was a bucket filled to the brim with water, and unfortunately, my foot stepped right into it. My now, how diligent of you to mop the floor this morning. Clomp, clomp, clomp. Whip, whip. Blah! Kichi-san flicked my forehead. You should set a more brutal trap next time. Seeing that, Rena began to swoon as Mion looked on dejectedly. Everything was the same as always. Everyone was there and nothing felt out of place. The uncertainties I had in the back of my mind since yesterday had vanished. Ah. What is it, Keiichi-kun? Didn't get enough sleep, maybe? Maybe? I slept like a log, but if you want, I'll do a reenactment during class. Shouldn't do that. Mion alerted us that the teacher was coming, so everyone shuffled off to their seats. Good morning, everyone. So yesterday was the festival. Thank you to all the people who stayed until the very end to help clean up. We were all slackers, so none of us actually helped clean up. Actually, I had a feeling that the only thing we did was run around the festival and cause a ruckus. Okay then, this time of year, you might see some people here from out of town doing interviews about the festival for magazines. I thought it was the usual stuff, so I was going to tune it out, but then I noticed the different tone in her voice and started paying attention. You may be asked questions. Please don't say anything silly or something that could be taken the wrong way. Do you understand? In unison, everyone replied, "Yes, ma'am." What she said was really vague, but I understood what she was trying to say. After all, this was the 5th year. There was probably lots of third-rate reporters pouring in, hoping something regarding the curse had happened. It did nothing but perpetuate the village's bad image. She was saying, don't spout stupid shit you think is funny. And now, I was one of the ones who needed to keep their mouths shut. I found it rather cute how I felt a sense of unity from such a trite thing, if I do say so myself. I was summoned to club activities after school. Since everyone was still pretty tired from yesterday, we just spent the day relaxing. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Today, let's play a classic game of deduction. How about this one? Oh, a game from overseas. Looks interesting. The instructions are in English, but the rules don't seem that hard. I won't lose, you hear? I'm not too bad at this game. It seemed that Rena didn't handle this kind of game very well. The rules are, the person who can match the murderer, weapon, and the scene of the crime wins. There were 3 kinds of cards comprised of suspects, weapons, and locations. I could see that the names Mion and Rika were written on the suspect cards. Oh, a card with my name on it as well. There are plenty of different weapons too, like knives, axes, and poison. The locations are pretty nice too, like the living room, the study, and the courtyard. So basically, you take out one of each of the cards. These are the answer cards. So we shuffle the remaining cards and hand them out. We ask each other about the cards to figure out the right ones. Ah, I see. So the cards nobody has are the true perpetrators. Then you raise your hand if you know the answer. The game ends and we check if the answer is correct. If you're right, then you get a point. If you're wrong, then you lose a point. Since the game ends even if no one gets it right, all the cards are gathered up and redistributed. You'll learn as you go. You really have to use your brain. You'll get confused if you don't take notes. The rest you can figure out by playing. So, Mion, what's the penalty this time? Everyone directed their attention to Mion. Let's see. We're all still a little tired from yesterday, so maybe we'll take it easy with the gopher penalty. You'll be asked to rush out and buy stuff for everyone. So just being asked to go buy stuff like drinks and candy, I guess. I feel like the penalty today is pretty simple. I wonder, is it really? Is Keiichi-san thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah. You don't know what you'll have to go to buy. I'm betting Mion would send out whoever loses to buy stuff like hemorrhoid cream, or happy family planning manual, other crazy stuff. The cards were lightly shuffled and passed out to each player. The real perpetrator, the correct weapon, and the scene of the murder have been taken out, so that means all the cards I have in my hand are innocent cards. Then, I'll go first since I'm the club president. Well then, neon, knife, study. You pick one suspect, weapon, and murder scene and ask each person. If you have any of those cards, then you must say, I have one. However, you don't need to say which one you have. Yeah, I got it. Me too. I have one. Oh my, all of them are here. 3 people answered when she asked if they had neon, knife, and study. So that means neon and knife and study are all in the clear. Got to jot that down. Then I'll go. Rena, axe, lounge. Only 2 people said they had one? So it means out of Rena, axe, and lounge, one of them is correct and is part of the crime? No, wait. Even if they say they have one, they don't have to say how many. It's possible that either Satoko or Rika-chan has 2 of the cards. Well, Kei-chan is next. Go ahead. Wait just a little. I'm still sorting things out. The game has me thinking more than I thought. Oh man, this feels like it's gonna be tough. Alright, now I have the criminal. What? Already? Here I'm spinning around in circles, and Mion just now raises her hand. The murderer is Rika-chan, in the infirmary, with the poison. Well? Mion drew the cards from the box and we checked to see if her deduction was right. You were right. All I needed was one more hand. I couldn't tell whether it was the poison or a pistol. I'd never use a pistol. I like killing them slowly with poison. Rika-chan said such a hugely terrifying thing with such a sweet little face. Everyone was making a commotion about how they almost had it. Ren and I were left out of the cold, though. How did you do, Keiichi-kun? I couldn't get it at all. Don't worry. I had no idea either. How can you both be so unsure? You'll both end up in last place together at this rate. That's even worse. Going off buying something together as a couple. What if we ended up having to buy the Happy Family Planning Guide? I could tell from Keiichi's expression that he's not very good at this game. What? That's not true. I'll show you the true power of Sherlock Maibara during the next round. My, that sounds just wonderful. I shall give you quite the thrashing. After that, I managed to somewhat grasp the trick behind the game, but I was still always a step or 2 behind. I saw that Mion was somehow gleaning information from how the others were asking their questions. My level of experience was just too much. The only way I could stage a comeback was if I became ruthless. I tossed out the simple concept of deduction and switched over to the thought process needed to win. The important thing isn't to find out the criminal, it's to win at the game. Eureka! Sorry, need to go to the bathroom. Take your time and squeeze out a nice one. Oh, no. Mead-san, that's gross. I had them hold off the game and headed down the hall. The air was crisp. It showed just how stagnant the air in the classroom was from our body heat. On the school grounds, some of our classmates were still playing around. After spending some time cooling my head, Rena had made her way over towards me. Keiichi-kun, did you call for me? Yeah, I did. Such an awkward thing to say to someone. Yeah. Though, to be fair, they are like high schoolers, so yeah, try and smooth out a nice one. High schoolers are a different breed of weird. As I got up from my seat, I winked over at Rena. I'm glad it worked out. I don't want to waste much time, so I'll get right to the point. Rena, what's your record at this game we're playing today? She was taken aback. After a moment, she hesitantly opened her mouth. Well, all losses. Why do you ask? I wonder. I could tell from how apprehensively she was playing. The way things are going, I will as well. I can't figure out a way to pull off a last-minute comeback on this one. So, I guess both of us will be taking that penalty? Hey, don't accept defeat already. How about we win this? Both of us. But how can we? I brought my lips up to Rena's ear. Whisper, 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 whisper. Huh? Is that allowed? Did you forget, Rena? The second rule of our society? Do everything in your power to obtain victory. Yeah, I'll try my best. Our plan of attack was a quite rudimentary one. At the beginning of the game, everyone would be focused on their own hand for a while, taking notes and whatnot. Since our seats were right next to each other, we'll reveal our hands to each other. If we did it under the desk, then nobody would know. We'd begin the game with twice as much information as everyone else. Having this much information would mean we'd need to investigate less. With this sort of plan of attack, we can start off a big lead over the other guys. Yeah, with this we can probably win. We both smirked at each other. If I was the shady businessman, then Rena was the corporate senator. Pleasure doing business with you. So let's hurry back. We'll work as a duo to surprise everyone. Hey now, there's no point if you can go back together. It'd be like flat out telling them we made a little arrangement. Oh, sorry. Then what should we do? Go back ahead of me, Rena. I'll take my time coming back after washing my face or something. Okay, got it. Rena turned around and headed back to the classroom. Guess I should wait a bit longer before going back. If I went too soon, it wouldn't seem like I went to the bathroom. If me or one of them suspected something, then there could be problems. No, they figured it out sooner or later, because both Ren and I would start winning over and over again. Both Ren and I will have earned enough points to avoid being the losers by the time Young realized what was happening. Excellent. Not bad at all. Mayabara-kun, may I have a moment? Huh? It's the teacher. Man, things were just getting good. What is it? I'm a bit... You have a guest. Please make your way to the entrance. A guest? It's not like I own a hotel. They have been waiting. Please hurry. It was rather unfortunate that I'd have someone waiting on me right before my big match, but I guess I was more interested in the unexpected guest. I didn't want to waste any time, so I decided to take care of it quickly. The entryway was a heavy contrast from the hot sunlight and deep shadows. Waiting there, looking uncomfortably warm, was a middle-aged man, his tie sloppily loosened, and his jacket tucked underneath his arm. Are you Mayabara-san? Keiichi Mayabara-san? There was no question that he wasn't a resident of the Hinamizawa. Why did I say of the Hinamizawa? Wonderful. I thought this was without a doubt the first time he had met me. Ever since I met Tomitake-san, I've been running into so many middle-aged men. That's right. Who might you be? I have the AC on in my car. Let's talk there. It's a bit hot here, don't you think? The man, completely ignoring my question, pointed over to his car parked near the gate and began walking. You've got to be kidding me. I had no intention of going along with some geezer I didn't even know. And he was asking me to get in his car with him? Stranger danger. I'm not going to bite. Come on now. He opened the back door of his car and called me over. I didn't like this old man, but I wanted to know what this was about. Even while knowing that conversations that start out like this have never led to anything good. Keiichi, please. The inside of his car was pretty cool. Cars with air conditioners were supposed to be a luxury. My dad didn't even have one in his car, at least. Please let me know if it's too cool for you, okay? I have a bit of a habit of cranking it all the way up. So what business do you have with me? Out of spite, I decided to ignore his remark in the same way he did to me and start my own line of questioning. He pulled out a notepad from his pocket and took out a picture that was stuck between the pages. On it was the faces of a pretty goofy-looking guy. If you know anything related to this image role, then please tell me. Who the heck is this? And not even his close friends would be able to recognize who he was from the expressionless picture that looked like it was taken at the DMV. AC is a luxury. Oh yeah, 80s. Yeah, this is in the 80s, baby. There were scribbles on his shirt done in permanent marker. Starting with yours, my Ibara-san, and quite a few of your classmates signed as well. Wait, you have an AC in your car? Fancy. Huh? This is Tomitake-san? There was no hint of his usual unreliable and easygoing personality in this photo. It was an expressionless, half-asleep face. Then do you know this woman? Even before seeing it, I had a good idea of who it was. I don't remember her name, but she's some lady who was with Tomitake-san last night. I didn't know what her name was, but I did know she was a resident of Hinamizawa. When was the last time you saw these two? The night of the Watanagashi, we spoke. They seem pretty close, I guess. Did anything bother you about them? Anything is fine. Go ahead and say it. Being asked for every little detail is very troubling, honestly. I had a pretty good idea of who this guy was by now. Did something happen to them? There was no response to my inquiry. Thus I replied to that silence in kind. I was pretty sure, no, certain, that this guy was a cop. Then why? Why was he asking about Tomitake-san? Did something happen to him? More importantly, why me? Shouldn't there have been plenty of other people who knew more about him than I did? The roar of the air conditioner felt unbearably loud. Oh my god. After a long pause, he finally spoke again. You've been here just recently, isn't that right, Mayabata-san? Are you aware, I wonder, about the stories of Oyashiro-sama? My heart began to race. I'm pretty terrible at hiding things. It probably showed on my face. Not at all. If you don't, then that's fine. Well, I have heard of it. Tomitake-san told me, actually. How much do you know about it? Dismemberment killing, the accidental death, the death by illness followed by suicide, and the lady who was beaten to death. The incidents that always happened the day of the Watanagashi, adding in suspicious deaths. I didn't think Tomitake-san would have kept anything from me. I think that was everything. No, rather, I didn't want to think there was anything more than that. Do you know of that, well, curse, Mayabata-san? Feel free to speak openly about it. I don't believe in it. My answer was instant. It wasn't so much that I didn't believe in it as I was on the verge of believing. I wanted to clear away my own doubts. That was the more prominent feeling. Really? Well, that's great. Guess you really are one of those city-raised boys. So what if I don't believe? I have friends waiting, so could you get to the point? The man in this picture is dead. My mind went blank. Huh? What happened to Tomitake-san? It would seem that he died last night. That was the night of the Watanagashi. Do you understand the implications behind that, Mayabata-san? Implications? Not any at all. Not any for the cause of his death or the reasons behind it. The real problem was that he died on the day of the Watanagashi. Meaning, this year, the curse of Oyashiro-sama had once again. The death of Jiro Tomitake is still confidential. You can understand why that is, right? I didn't want to understand why. Please tell me. Tell me what happened. It was rather peculiar. It might be a little too graphic for someone born and raised in Himinizawa. It was a roundabout way of saying it, but it caused me to doubt whether or not I wanted to hear the rest. I would only regret forcing myself to learn of something I shouldn't. Or at least that's how I figured I would feel if I listened to the rest. One of our patrol cars discovered the body on the way back from security detail at the festival. It was late, about 5 till midnight. The location was, you know where the road into town becomes paved, right? Down past that slope, on the shoulder around there. There are a few street lights on that road. It's pitch black darkness that was broken by the lights of passing cars and the moon. It was a stroke of luck that Tomitake-san was spotted collapsed on the shoulder of the road. I'm going off of this, background for this part. I'm pretty sure the radio and the tips, that radio conversation, was from this. I'm pretty sure. Tomitake-san was face down, covered in blood. Blood and muck covered the asphalt. We thought it was a hit and run at first. But when the officer checked to see if he was still alive, he quickly noticed something abnormal. His throat had been ripped open. From a knife or something? No. Nails. Nails? As in fingernails? With those, he clawed through? From the coroner's report, it was revealed that it was with his own nails. Huh? What does that mean? Basically, it means it wasn't a murder. It was suicide. Tomitake-san thought there was a reason to tear open his own throat, as hard as he could with his own nails. Tore through the skin until he started to bleed. And even then, Tomitake-san didn't stop. He continued clawing, with enough intensity that it could have peeled off his nails. Still clawing. Still clawing. Then, as his nails reached those vital arteries that you should never damage, he continued clawing. Splurt. Blood splattered on the ground around him. As he bled, while gasping for breath, he collapsed. His body spasmed, and he died in agony. We thought drugs were to blame, but nothing of that nature was detected. But this... it was a suicide? I never heard of such a thing. This unnatural way of dying. If this wasn't a mysterious death, then what was... the way he died? In these 5 years, his death most resembled that of a curse. As if to show both myself and Tomitake-san, we proclaimed there was no such thing as a curse, that we were wrong. There were a few more suspicious details. From his body chemistry, perspiration, epilation, and so on, we concluded that he was in a state of hysteria right before his death. That was a given. It's hard to believe someone could be in a sound state of mind while clawing out their throat. Wounds on his hands matched a discarded piece of lumber found nearby. There are traces of where he struck trees and the guardrails within. Tomitake-san's blood was found all over the place, meaning that while tearing at his own throat, he was swinging around a piece of lumber. There were external injuries, which were not self-inflicted, discovered on Tomitake-san. There is a high probability Tomitake-san was assaulted. The external injuries suggest there may be multiple suspects. To summarize, Tomitake-san was surrounded and attacked. While wandering in the night roads in a state of panic, after being cornered, he picked up a piece of lumber and tried fighting back. Somewhere in there, he began madly tearing at his own throat, clawing at it. Then, he died. The presumed time of death was around 9:23 p.m., meaning it occurred right after you finished talking to Tomitake-san at the festival. Everyone signed Tomitake-san's shirt, then parted ways. Right after that... oh yeah, he should have been with a woman. What about her? She's missing. She hasn't shown up to work, and she hasn't returned home either. There is a very high probability that she was involved in this incident. For a while, I could only gaze off into space. I never would have thought that something unfortunate happening to somebody close to me could affect me this deeply. The time I had spent with Tomitake-san was short, but we went to the same festival, spent time together, and took part in the same competition. He was one of us. We have been continuing the investigation on various fronts, but when it comes to Oyashiro-sama's curse, the villagers here aren't very cooperative. That I knew well. I would have been none the wiser if not for Tomitake-san, the outsider, telling me. So that's why he came to me? Because I'm not originally from Hinamizawa? I should have been angry that was the reason he wanted to hear what happened from me. If things go the way they have been, then the conclusion would be that Jiro Tomitake died from Oyashiro-sama's curse. He turned away from me and gazed far off into the distance. The night of the Tanagashi, during that sacred ritual, he callously snapped off photos, angering Oyashiro-sama. That's how it's going to turn out. There's no way Oyashiro-sama would inflict divine punishment on Tomitake-san. Tomitake-san had to have been killed by humans, and a cowardly group no less. There's no way I'm going to let this end up being the fault of some curse. I think so as well. There's no such thing as divine punishment or curses. The tense mood was caught with the man's hearty laugh. That's how this must be, Mayabata-san. Cooperation from individuals in Hinamizawa who don't believe in the curse is indispensable. Understand? Neither Tomitake-san nor I believe in curses. But with the way things are going, it would just end up with Tomitake-san's death marking the 5th year. Which would mean that Hinamizawa had rejected Tomitake-san. That was something I couldn't allow. Tomitake-san was one of us. He didn't live in Hinamizawa, but he came every single year. In a sense, he was more of a resident than I was. There was no way that Tomitake-san could have been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. But there's nothing I can do to help. I have no idea what happened that night either. No. If you see or hear anything that draws your attention, then that is enough. If I see or hear, he was talking in future tense. Things or people or rumors, anything is fine. I don't care if they're unfounded. Here, this is my number. If I'm not there, then just leave a message with whoever picks up. He handed me a piece of paper with his number on it, but I hesitated for a second. If I took it, then whether I wanted to or not, I'd be mired deep in this matter. Mired? I don't know words. Please help me solve these questions surrounding Tomitake-san's unfortunate death. That's right. Why was I hesitating? I needed to find the murderer who killed my friend. I snatched up the piece of paper as a satisfied grin spread across his face. Everything we spoke of today is a secret. Please keep this confidential. Understood. From your friends as well. Especially from Sonozaki-san and Furude-san. Please do not inform them. Sonozaki? You mean Mion? Why? Are you saying it has something to do with the incident? With my friend's names brought up so abruptly and being told to keep it a secret from them, I became rather angry. This is what they call investigative privilege, I suppose. Don't play games with me. Mion is a close friend of mine. I snapped at him, but he didn't seem to especially be offended. I wouldn't mind telling you, but it may just upset you. Say it. He hesitated a little. Turning his gaze to the outside of the car, he began to speak after thinking for a bit. There's a possibility that the string of incidents happening here in Minazawa are a result of village conspiracy. There's no way that could be right. Give me a break. First of all, is there any proof of that? No evidence. Also, each of the cases were resolved and none of their perpetrators had any direct connection to the village. Then how did you come to that conclusion? Every year, the enemies of the village die on the day of the Watanagashi. Don't you think there's enough reason to suspect something? Only the residents of Himiyazawa felt that the day of the Watanagashi was sacred. So basically, because incidents happened on that day, it was somehow related to Hinamizawa? First it was the dam construction foreman, then it was the villager that supported it. Those the village hold a grudge against dying one after another for mysterious causes. That means the means are different, but in the end the result is the same. Unfounded, unreasonable suspicion. But it couldn't just be shrugged off. So, the victims after that? What about the Shinto priest and his wife's death? They weren't enemies of the village. The villagers had expected leadership from the Shinto priest at the time of the dam dispute, but he wasn't proactive, so there was a faction of villagers who harbored ill will towards him as a result. Ill will? It's not like he did anything bad to the village. What about that housewife after that? Did she die just because she was the wife of the brother of a supporter? That's such a trivial reason to kill someone. And what about Tomitake-san? He's not affiliated with the dam project at all. Was he killed just because he was an outsider? At the beginning, it fell on those related to the dam project, but as the years went on, the enemy threshold of the victims had become much lower. Well, that's the scary part. The bar keeps getting lower. What's scary about that? It means it's not just enemies of the village anymore. Just being an outsider is reason enough. Then, next year's victim, we're just going to be picked out of the village outsider pool? It might be a person that just moved here. What do you mean by... I swallowed my words. Here in Hinamizawa, the ones who would be considered the most outside would be... my family. I was proof enough of that, wasn't I? I still couldn't really remember the names of the people I passed by. Then, the next victims. My family. Was he saying it was going to be me? But, what does that have to do with Mion? I can't go into details, but the Sonozaki family led the damn protests. Quite frivolently so. This is also true of Mion Sonozaki herself. She has quite a few misdemeanor and obstruction of public worker offenses on her record because of the protests. I knew Mion knew what it meant to fight. This was the first I'd heard of her family leading the protests, though. Then, well, what did it all mean? Are you saying that Mion's family is involved with this string of incidents? I wouldn't go that far. I'm just saying that if it was a conspiracy, then they have the highest probability of being behind it. Not a very clear explanation. It felt like he'd magnificently avoided the details I really wanted to know. We don't know who or how involved anyone is right now. That is exactly why I don't want you to say anything to the villagers. Instead of answering, I gave a bitter expression. It seemed that he understood it well enough. Then think of it like this. I don't want to worry the villagers who blindly believe it's the curse. How about that? What do you mean, how about that? How should I know? But the reasoning behind wanting me to not carelessly open my mouth about it wasn't too hard to comprehend. The perpetrator was here. It had nothing to do with the curse. He was definitely going to be caught by the police and made to pay for his crimes. And none of the villagers should have anything to do with that process. It may cause those sensitive about the curse to just worry needlessly. Just like everyone kept it from me, so I wouldn't worry about it. Is it now my turn to keep it from them so they don't have to worry? So they didn't have to worry? I was just talking to myself. Unlike me, everyone else had been worrying over these mysterious incidents yearly, and this time probably means a lot more to them. I didn't want to burden them anymore. In the end, everything went as the man had wanted, as insipid as it was, but it couldn't be helped. I understand. I'll keep it to myself. Is that fine? Mr. Oishi, from the Okinomiya police station. You can call me Kura-chan if you want. No. Oishi-san is fine. The way he said it was unpleasant, yet retained hints of politeness. He was the spitting image of a vulgar police officer. Well, I've never seen one of these bulky... Though I've never seen one this bulky before on the cop shows I watch. He's just getting that donut quota, man. I'm taking up too much time. Your friends are waiting, aren't they? I should probably let you get back to them. The door opened with a click and in streamed the oppressive heat. It was blistering outside of the car. Was it really this hot of a day? It was almost cruel heat, as opposed to the mechanical coolness inside the car. It was as if the land of Hinamizawa itself suddenly hated me. I felt a little sad as that thought crossed my mind. I didn't mean to suspect your friends. Please don't misunderstand that. I refrained from telling him that it was too late to say something that self-serving. It's fine if you don't see or hear anything about us on. There's enough proof that the village is not involved. I'll contact you if I hear or see anything, but I'm no detective. Please don't expect too much from me. I won't. You don't have to become a detective. Just go on living as you have up until now. Just let me know if you notice anything. I hastily made my way back to the school building after giving him a quick bow. See you later. Farewell, Maibara-kun. I returned to the school building without looking back. I don't know how much time had passed. I did feel bad for keeping them waiting, but right now there was a lot on my mind. Tomitake-san's death was hard enough as it was, but to think that there was the possibility of a village conspiracy? Worse still, there was also a chance that Mion was involved? Nonsense. Impossible. Not Mion, Rena, Satoko, or Rika-chan. It was a group that attacked Tomitake-san? Who could the perpetrators be? Could it be they were hiding here? Somewhere in Hinamizawa? I didn't know. All I could say for certain was that I knew that Mion couldn't be the perpetrator. It's me, Chan, the perpetrator. Huh? Ah, shit. Log. Huh? I was startled to hear Rena's voice. With the rope in the lounge. Nope. No! Rena clutched her head while flailing about. Looks like you're just self-destructing over there. Wow. Ah! Keiichi-san, you're quite late. As you may well know, I'm seething with anger. Sorry about that. I was called into the staff room, you see. You're reprimanded for bad behavior? That's a shame. Well, it's been pretty heated over here. Since it's getting pretty late, let's make the next game the last one. If I remember right, I had 0 points. Isn't it pretty much decided that I'm going to be finishing in last place? Don't worry, Keiichi-kun. I'm at -1 points. Oh. The heck? Her score is lower than mine and I wasn't even playing. This is the final match to decide if the penalty is going to be carried out by Rena alone or by both Kei-chan and Rena. Yeah, right. Just let Rena do the penalty by herself. I made a promise, Keiichi-kun, that we would both win. I waited all this time, you know? You know? I'm sorry about that. I followed my initial plan of showing Rena my cards, but I didn't say who was the criminal and just waited for her to call. I got it. The murderer is me. With the poison at the entrance. Is it? My, Rena. Quite a quick answer. Another stab in the dark? Oh. Rena's correct. Oh, then it's decided that Keiichi-san shall take part in the penalty as well. Hooray! Keiichi-kun, let's both do our best. Yeah, let's do our best. It's my fault, so I have no choice. Then that's game. It's me, Mion Samazaki, ranked first. In dead last are Keiichi Maebara and Rena Ryugyu. Everyone applauded and the game ended. The problem now was the penalty. Now then, I ranked first, so I'll decide what you'll be buying for the gopher penalty. I somehow feel like I said that wrong, but I'm not sure. We'll carry on anyways. What will she make us buy? I wonder. Let's blacklist the drugstore. That was your aim, wasn't it? Huh? I don't have any business at the drugstore. This old man's already got a list prepared for you on this piece of paper. Whoa, there's a lot written on here. A lot? Damn it, what is she making us buy? 2 blocks of tofu, shampoo and conditioner, apple vinegar and fried tofu. The heck is this? It looks more like a shopping list than a penalty. Me was certain she was going to win today. Rule 7 of our society. You cannot refuse any penalty. Here's some money. The shampoo I usually get is Fruit Fable. Thanks. This is just your grocery list! I promised myself that if I won next time I'd make her go buy hemorrhoid cream. Amazing. I don't like that achievement, mostly because I don't like how his face looks. Yeah, let's see what the new tips are. There are more than 4 perpetrators. Hypovolemic shock induced by clawing out their own throat. Tissue is packed under the nails. Not someone else's nails. It's undoubtedly by the individual's own nails. The shape of the scars also matches. Yeah, I know the immediate cause of death was suicide. I get it. You're saying the cause of death is unnatural, right? It's kind of like when your back itches and you scratch a little too hard and draw blood. I'll take some food, thanks. I hope you've been eating properly, by the way, Catman. Someone told my Taka-san's fingernails had been pulled out. It's actually quite simple to pull out one's own nails. I made ramen earlier, but I want more ramen, but then I'd have to do dishes again. Oh, mood. But it really hurts. Under normal circumstances, the pain would prevent you from completely pulling them out. Also, there was a lot of bruises on Tomoitake-san's body. It's clear from the shape of them that he was assaulted first by someone, or a group of people. According to the toxicology report, the deceased was in an extreme state of hysteria right before death. Then he fought back and clawed out his own throat because of how hysterical he became. The guys attacking him certainly would have been surprised by that. It is possible that, in such an abnormal environment, a person could perform acts that a sane individual couldn't possibly imagine. Of course, those are very rare cases. Actually, Oishi-kun, that wood plank the deceased used as a weapon, they only found sand and the paint from the guardrail on it. What about the cloth fibers or skin? Nothing. The deceased didn't strike the assailants. Or it could be that they took the plank he was fighting back with. In that case, they wouldn't have gone out of their way to replace it with another. They take them all. Har 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 har. That's true. Tomoitake-san's pretty built and tanned. He was quite athletic. That's right. He was pretty active. Can't imagine what kind of sports he did when he was alive, but I think his physical strength would be on the higher side. Meaning, he would be difficult to overpower in a brawl. If a man with such a physique sensed he was in danger and swung the plank around quickly... It's just unthinkable that it wouldn't even nick the perpetrator. And his opponent was unarmed. The guy had a wooden plank, so you'd think he'd hit him at least once. To surround and take down someone of his physique, I wonder how many people it would take. You dimwit. You should know better than anyone. Have you forgotten your bad cop days? If I was to take down this guy, how many would I need? When a group wants to take down big prey, it's fundamental to attack with numbers. F? I'm not sure who you're saying F to. I guess about 4. Even if there was a gap in their strength, they'd manage. Then there were quite a few perpetrators. So any drunk and disorderly groups of more than 4 are suspicious? I'm saying F to Uwu. That is such a silly sentence. I'm saying F to Uwu. A group of 4 or more. Just, if they had that many, then couldn't they just have hidden the body in a less obvious location? Or did he somehow break away from that fatal predicament? Then there would be no reason to commit suicide. Moreover, I still can't comprehend the irregular way he died. It's full of mysteries. That's under serious consideration on my end, too. I'll be examining it as thoroughly as possible, but don't get your hopes up. Dishes is washing one pot bidet. That's fair. After all, we've never encountered a death like this before. I'm not hoping for much, but I am looking forward to the results. Oyashiro-sama, the chief is calling for you. Thanks, see you around. Yeah, best wishes. Search notice. Jiro Tometake, deceased. Residing in a cheap hotel in Shishibone City. Registered under the name Jiro Tometake. Pen name. Travels via folding bike. No license. The bicycle was found 300 meters away, abandoned at the side of a forest path. Present on the day of the festival, accompanied by the missing Mio Takano. Was seen around 9 p.m. by police. Location afterwards unknown. Held residence in Hinamizawa for 1 week each season for the last 5 to 6 years. Freelance photographer specializing in wild birds. Check with magazine companies. Nothing suspicious in the film located among the articles of the deceased. While it was among the articles of the deceased. Mere act of violence? From the contents of his wallet, he spent most of his time around Tokyo and Chiba, along the Sobu National Railway line. No individual matching the name Jiro Tometake in the residency records of any of the Tokyo wards. Compare teeth to dental records. Send to Metro Police. Attach a photo. Sent to Metro Police. Contacting magazines regarding Jiro Tometake. Mio Takano, missing. Nurse at the Irie Clinic. Became close to Tometake through her passion for wild bird photography. Resides in Okinomiya District, single. Witnessed accompanying Tometake on the festival grounds, currently missing. Abducted? Or maybe a suspect. An important person of interest. Had no motive to kill the deceased. Squabble from jealousy? Need to thoroughly investigate their relationship. Place of work, etc. Needs to get information from police on scene again. I want some cream puffs. 4 jumbo ones. Oh, easy. The cream puffs. Sleepy. Whoa, that was a really big yawn, Katie-kun. I'm usually awake when it's time to eat, but it doesn't look like I can do it today. I was watching TV until late last night. I'm so tired right now. Was one of those raunchy TV shows you love so much on last night? How extremely vile. Don't jump to conclusions. It's perfectly normal for boys. Nothing to be ashamed about. Rika not patting my head only made me feel worse. Could you just let me pass out this lunch break? No, seriously. My, you think I would just sit here and allow that? I'll get really angry if you disturb me. Really angry. Ugh. This was just dreadful. Just so sleepy. I slid my head onto the desk and drifted off into an afternoon nap. It seemed that Satoko had responded, but I pretended not to hear. Cut it out, Satoko-chan. Keiichi-kun fell asleep. His sleeping face. So cute. You can take him home later. Let him be for now. Let's move over there. It'd be rude to Keiichi if you bothered him now. Mika-chan really is a good girl. Let's not wake him up, but even if the teacher comes back. I take that back. The excuse that I didn't sleep much last night because I was watching TV was a lie. I was in bed at the usual time, but because of the conversation with Oyashiro-sama that afternoon, I didn't get much sleep. Just spending the day like this. It's almost as if the incident of Tomitake-san didn't happen at all. It made me think, was Oyashiro-san just trying to deceive me? But it was probably the truth. One thing was certain, I couldn't speak to anyone about it. He wanted my assistance, but I really didn't know anything about it. If I knew I wasn't going to be of any help, I probably wouldn't have listened in the first place. It ended up with me, again, regretting learning something I didn't need to know. If I had never learned about it, I would, without a doubt, be goofing off with the rest of them right now. I couldn't help but resent Oyashiro-san for this. Huh? When was that? I heard he wasn't there the next day. It appears he vanished the night of the Watanagashi. Mion whispered to keep others from listening, but I could hear it clearly. On the other hand, Rena's voice was even harder to pick up, but I could still tell she was quite upset. It couldn't be. Are they talking about Tomitake-san? Kai? Not sure. That's all I know. I would have to feign ignorance about this topic because I needed to keep it a secret. Rather than waking up and being forced to lie to join the conversation, it was much easier to just sit here and pretend I was asleep to listen in on their discussion. Wait, why did I have to pretend to be asleep while eavesdropping on my friend's conversation? The guilt stung. So, I mean, there are others, right? Too? But they didn't know if it was from the curse or if this was an onikakushi. Onikakushi? Onikakushi? To be hidden away by a demon? What a mysterious phrase. I did, however, get the feeling it meant nothing good. Yeah, there was another, right? Right? If it's Oyashiro-sama's. Yeah. But, this year, that, at all? Grandma and the mayor had talked about it, since they talked to the police about it beforehand. They said they'd take care of whatever happens this year without causing a commotion. Then, without us knowing it, someone had it them, you mean? AB. Next could meet, I wonder. Don't worry, you got home safely. But is not allowed, right? That was a long time ago. Let's stop talking about this. Amidst the uncomfortable mood, both of them went silent. The entirety of the conversation was still a bit unclear, but a few parts caught my attention. First of all, the term onikakushi, to be demoned away. By the context it was used in, I would guess it's similar to being spirited away. I suspected that this is what it meant because Tomitake-san and that woman, it really bugged me that I didn't know her name, vanished after the Watanagashi. The next thing that stuck out was when Rena said, "There's another one, right?" Mion also said, "If it's Oyashiro-sama's," yeah, responding to something. If it's Oyashiro-sama's curse, then there had to be 2 victims. Is that what she meant? Come to think of it, I remember Mion saying at the beginning that they didn't know if it was from the curse or if it was a case of onikakushi. It seems that the curse and being demoned away are different things, and they were phenomena that were paired together. I recall Tomitake's terrible end. That wasn't something as elegant as disappearing. That horrendous end would best be described as cursed. Then, the woman with him, It means she vanished because she was demoned away? What I do know is there's normally an even number of victims of the curse proper. And the last point that bothered me was Rena. Rena was frightened. For what reason, I didn't know. However, she knew that something had made her a potential target for Oyashiro-sama's curse. If I recall correctly, Oyashiro-sama should be the guardian deity of Hinamizawa. Isn't a guardian deity supposed to defend the citizens and drive out invaders? If I recall correctly, yesterday, Oishi-san said that originally the targets were enemies of the village, but recently there were no longer any distinction between them or regular outsiders. But if that was the case, then I would think that I'd be the more likely target, having moved here more recently than Rena. From her composure, I can infer that she was grimly certain that she would be next. I should probably relay what I heard just now to Oishi-san, informing the police of what I heard by eavesdropping on my friends while pretending to be asleep. It made me feel terrible. It raised a few questions that left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Would it be better not to seek the answers to those questions? As I continued to learn more and more, I felt like I had fallen past the point of no return. I would definitely regret this one day. I would definitely regret ever having learned of these events. The teacher approaches! Keiichi-san, you must awaken! In the distance, I could hear the ring of the handbell, signaling the start of afternoon classes. Gah, I couldn't sleep at all. I hastily opened my eyes and raised my head up. I was in the moment when I leaned against the back of my seat. Wow! There was the thumbtack stuck on the back of my chair with tape. Circumstantial evidence was enough. Satoko! The fucking mood shift. Yes. Guilty without trial. Capital punishment. I furiously jumped up from my seat. And I tripped as if my feet were tangled up. My shoelaces had been tied together. Not bad, Satoko. While I was sleeping, you were able to conceal your presence and able to pull off this fine piece of work. The teacher came in right as I was about to pull off my shoes and tackle Satoko. Oh, did you just notice that our teacher had arrived, Keiichi-san? Take your seats. Clomp, clomp, whish, whiff. Not caring one bit, I made her eat a flick to the forehead. But wah! Keiichi-san is being mean. Hey, don't pick on the younger kids, Maibara-kun. Apologize to her. I saw Satoko stick her tongue out at me. That little brat. Come on, Maibara-kun. Yeah, I'll apologize. Sorry, Satoko-san. In any case, I apologized, even if it was in a completely insincere tone of voice. Damn her. I'll remember this. Kei-chan, get your revenge at the club meeting. Take your seat. I sat down after Mion told me to. She switched to clap representative mode. With the boring classes finished, school was finally over for the day. Now then, what should we do for our club today? Personally, I would like to play the deduction game one more time. I was hardly able to play it last time because of Oishi-san. Rena and I weren't even able to test out our strategy. That's right, today Keiichi-kun and I will be victorious. What should we do? We've never played the same game 2 days in a row before. Why not try asking me? Mion looked over her shoulder as we made eye contact. She slowly tapped her palm with her fist as her face suddenly lit up. Oops. I completely forgot. I need to go help my uncle today. Sorry guys, not today. Helping your uncle? Aren't you a little goody two-shoes? Sorry, really. I really did forget. Well then, sorry guys. This old man is heading back home now. Mion left us with that and rushed off to the exit after snatching up her bag. You see, Mi-chan, she sometimes goes to help out at her uncle's shop in town. I thought she wasn't the type to get caught up in such bothersome stuff. She said that she gets paid for it. It's quite a bit of spending money from what I hear. I see. She was able to pay for that mountain of games with what she saved up from there. But that... wouldn't you call that a part-time job? Isn't that against school policy? There's a clause that states family businesses are excluded. Is that what she's calling it? So what now? Pass on the club today? So, we're done today, I guess? Won't it be fine even without the club president? Let's do this! I opened the club locker and began searching for the deduction game from that ever-growing pile of games. Ah, here it is! The deduction game from yesterday. Man, I had to stop just as I was getting the hang of it. At the very least, I wanted to repay Satoko for what she did during the afternoon break. I do not mind, but is that fine for Rena-san and Rika? If Keiichi-kun wants to so badly, I wouldn't mind playing for a bit. I think it's better if we do it when we have everyone together. But she says it like that. I wanted to go shopping if there wasn't a club meeting today. Going to buy soy sauce and other things. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. Well, I guess since it's been a while, I should go treasure hunting. What's this now? Everyone was no longer in the mood for club activities. If I kept on trying to push the matter, it might make them realize I had a trick up my sleeve. Oh well, I'll give up this time. Man, I was really looking forward to playing it. I shuffled through the cards as if I was still caught up on it. At the next opportunity, I shall give you a sound thrashing. Oh ho ho! The murderer is Satoko. The murder weapon is the pistol. It was you after all. What did you say? Then I'll just... Satoko looked through the cards on the desk and stuck out 3 of them at me. The murderer is Keiichi, in the lounge with the rope. I don't need no rope. I'll just strangle you like this. No! Keiichi-san is such a beast. Pooh. Well, I guess it's good that I got that out of my system. Wow! I remember this Keiichi-san. She was used as a plaything for quite a while. How unfortunate. Cute, cute. Everyone got ready to go back home. I also helped gather up the scattered cards. I suddenly paused. They were just the suspect cards, but I noticed something strange. Rena, Satoko, Rika, Keiichi, Mion, Satoshi. Satoshi? Not all the cards were made by us. Or at least, every card besides this one has the name of a club member. Does that mean that this Satoshi fellow is a member? Was there someone in this class named Satoshi? I couldn't find anyone named Satoshi on the class roster stuck up on the wall. Keiichi-kun, let's hurry and finish cleaning up. Being rushed by Rena, I finished up quickly. Satoko and Rika-chan had already headed merrily for their lockers, so they were the only ones left in the classroom. Right now, Rena had already gotten her bag and was ready to leave. Rena. There must be quite a few people who transfer from the school, right? I tried asking Rena in a bit of a roundabout way. Rena made a troubled face and then answered. Yeah. Hinamizawa is a rural town, right? Some people transfer out every now and then. Then is Satoshi another one of those transferees? Sorry, I don't really know. There was a bit of a pause, but the answer was pretty much immediate. I'm not saying it to be mean. Just last year, I transferred in, so maybe I just missed him. So I didn't hear much about him. Sorry. I'm not sure. Sorry. Her answer was a lot like when she refused to tell me about the murder at the dam. I was saddened by her denial, and felt a little bit of anger. I am their friend, aren't I? Friends don't keep secrets from friends, do they? Though I do appreciate that they kept that unsettling curse thing from me. But if everyone is worried about it, I'd rather be worried with them. That's what it means to be friends, right? For a moment, I wondered just what kind of face I was making just then, with these mixed feelings of sadness and annoyance. Keiichi-kun, you're making a scary face. Why is it? Why? It was probably exactly the kind of face Rena said it was. It appeared my grim expression had frightened her. Sorry. I was really looking forward to the club today. I'm just feeling down about it. I rustled Rena's hair. Let's go home. Dragging that awkward mood with us, we headed home. I wonder why. Why have I been getting this dumb feeling lately? I didn't know anything. I had nothing to worry about. I was just enjoying my everyday life. My long, outstretched shadow gave no answer to my naive inquiry. Keiichi-kun, are you tired? Maybe? Maybe? Rana timidly questioned the reason behind my mood. I'm sure my expression made the situation even more unsettling. You think so? Yeah. You seem to have been a little out of it ever since this morning. Maybe a cold? Physically, I was pretty sure I was in perfect health. It may not seem like it, but I've had perfect attendance since elementary school. Rena continued on since I didn't give her an answer. It could be that the fatigue from moving has finally caught up to you. It's completely different from where you used to live, after all. Of course you've gotten tired, since there's so much you need to get used to and remember. Maybe that's it. Yeah, it has to be. Rena was also like that at first, too. I can tell, you know? You know? I wondered if Rena also experienced the slight bit of alienation last year that I was feeling right now. Thinking so, I felt that she was the only one who could understand how I felt. I like to hear about when blah 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 blah. I like to hear about when you first came to Hinamizawa. How was it? Feeling I had been drawn into the conversation, her face suddenly brightened. It was the same as Keiichi-kun. I didn't know the villagers' names at all. Michan and the rest were all very kind, so I wasn't lonely, but I did still feel a little out of place. Rena told me all the details of when she had moved here. All of her first acquaintances and surprises, worries and good times. So, Satoko got you too? Yeah. There's a thumbtack put on my chair. Poke. Then with that, yeah. That really takes me back. When were you invited to the club? The first day? Nah, there wasn't a club at the beginning. It was formed partway through. One day, she said we should stay after and hold a big game tournament. Got to think of it. Mion did say she was the first club president. Now I get it. This is a big secret, but Michan used to be really bad at the beginning. She'd never win. Huh? Mion? Really? I can't even imagine that. She had to do most of the penalties that she came up with. Seriously, don't tell. I can't believe Mion was like that. So she gradually transformed into a monster who used any means necessary to win during that time. Mion is at her best when she is fighting dirty. I began making more friends besides Michan after that, but yeah. It might have been since you moved here that I finally felt like I had gotten used to it here. I guess Rena had also been left in the dark about Oyashiro-sama when she just moved here. I guess when they finally told me about Oyashiro-sama, I'd be considered one of them. I wonder when I'll finally be considered one of them. Huh? Did he say something? No, sorry. Just talking to myself. Keiichi-kun, you're silly. Rena was poking fun and laughing at me, and I couldn't help but laugh as well, but I suddenly stopped. Then, after making up my mind, I spoke. Off to bed I go, have a good night. Of course. You have a good sleeps. Thank you for dropping in. It's always a pleasure having you here, Catman. Hey, Rena, is there something that everybody is keeping from me? Huh? No, not at all. You're lying, aren't you? Rena suddenly stopped. Her expression was cold and intense. What do you mean by that, Keiichi-kun? Her tone was still the same cheery and light-hearted one as before. You are, aren't you? Keeping something from me? After understanding what I meant, her expression grew even more intense. Seeing that face, I regretted saying something so rash, but she came back at me in a way I didn't expect. Oh, then Keiichi-kun, aren't you keeping something from us? Huh? Her tone didn't change, but it was the first time I had seen this expression from Rena. Without her gaze pierced through me, I couldn't believe this was the same Rena. Aren't you? Lies are secrets, aren't you? You are. Secrets. She didn't actually say that part, but she looked as if she did. The incident with Tomitake-san and how I felt alienated from the group. Even without having to think about it, there were things I knew that I felt guilty about. But I didn't tell everyone about what happened with Tomitake-san, to be considerate. I was keeping it a secret just the same way they didn't tell me about Oyashiro-sama. Then, aren't we even? No, I'm not. No lies, nor secrets. Liar. Her answer was instant and it shook me. Rena stared as if burrowing through me, watching me like a hawk. Why would you say I'm lying? Didn't you say that you were called into the teacher's room yesterday during the club meeting, Keiichi-kun? I know. You didn't go to the teacher's room. I swallowed hard. It clearly wasn't a bluff. She knew what happened. The teacher said you had a guest, didn't she? But you didn't talk at the entrance. You talked inside of the car near the school gate. With some man we don't know. Rena knew everything. She knew I was called out by Oishi-san, and that I heard about the incident with Tomitake-san as well. Did she know all of it? Exactly who was that man? I don't know him. Why did someone you don't know have business with you? I want to know that myself. Then what did you talk about? It was nothing to do with you guys. It was a lie. Lies! Rena's scream echoed through the trees, sending frightened birds into the air. I couldn't exhale the deep breath I had just taken. No, it was like I wasn't allowed to exhale. It was here, I first realized. The person in front of me. She wasn't Rena Ryugu. Then, who was it that was standing before me now? Who has assumed Rena Ryugu's appearance? I held my breath for so long, I could feel myself suffocating. Right? And then she made a facial expression that Rena normally might have made. It didn't matter that it was Rena's usual smile. It chilled me to the bone. She drew closer to me. I felt her breath against my face. It wasn't the least bit exciting. Whoever this was with Rena's face was going to chew my nose right off. I cowered as I imagined that. Then, she smirked as if she was able to see right through me. We also have secrets, just like how Keiichi-kun has secrets. It was Rena's usual smile, but her eyes were still like that of a hawk's. Bringing her face close enough to mine to almost bump into my nose, she kindly persuaded me. I couldn't nod or shake my head. The person standing in front of me, this person who looked like Rena, frightened me to my core. I was terrified knowing that she could hear the sound of me swallowing nervously. After what felt like an eternity, after a long empty silence, she finally spoke. Let's go. It's getting chilly. It was Rena again. Smiling at me once more, she started walking as if nothing at all had happened. When I was released from her gaze, my legs gave out from under me and I slumped onto the ground. I wasn't able to lift a finger until Rena was out of sight. Who was that? I felt cold. My body was drenched in sweat. I was finally able to form a coherent thought and ask myself once again, who was that person who looked like Rena or Yugu? Dearie my. I was out of it and couldn't bring myself to do anything until dinner except stare blankly into space. Was I terrified from Rena going off on me? No, that's not right. That was someone else who only looked like Rena. Then, who could it have been? It was a dreadful feeling. Knowing that that's someone else, not Rena, so... I read that a little wrong. Knowing that that was someone else, not Rena. So tomorrow, I shouldn't have a problem talking to Rena like I usually do. That thought was strangely comforting. I concluded that I should just calm down and clear my head, though those thoughts continued swirling around my mind. Finally, I returned to my senses as I heard my mother calling out to me from the bottom of the steps. Keiichi! It's a call from the bookstore. Bookstore? Can't think of why they'd be calling me. I went downstairs and picked up the receiver anyway. My apologies for calling so late at night. It's me, Oyashiro the Okinama bookshop. Oishi-san? Oh, it's Oishi-san. Sorry. Since your parents picked up, I said I was from the bookstore. It puts people off when I say I'm a police officer. I wonder why. Oishi-san was, in his own way, rather courteous. Even so, I didn't want my parents hearing me talk to the police. I brought the cordless phone with me as I dashed back up to the room on the second floor. Sorry for calling so late. That number on the piece of paper I gave you yesterday was the old number. My apologies. Can you copy down the number I'm about to give you? Yeah. Okay. He gave me the number for his direct line as I wrote it down. I thought that was the end of it, but he began making pointless small talk. It was pretty hard to hang up. So, how has it been, Mayabata-san? Did anything strange happen recently? I see. This was the real reason. He really beat around the bush there. His adult conversational skills left me slack-jawed. Are you from around here, Oishi-san? Yeah, I am. Born and raised in Okinomiya. If he's from around here, he might know. Oishi-san, do you know about what this onikakushi thing is about? I believe. That's when somebody suddenly vanishes because they've been abducted by a demon. It's a special saying from around here. It's the same meaning as spirited away like everyone else says. Whereas my friends would say they didn't know where I asked, this older man gave me a direct answer. It made me a bit happy that he answered me directly without trying to hide anything. Hinamizawa was, I'm not sure I should tell you this, Mayabata-san. Don't try to play this off. If you're not gonna talk, then I'm not gonna tell you anything. No. That's not what I meant. It's just, it may make you feel bad. You see, long ago, Hinamizawa was feared as the village where demons reside. Demons? By demons you mean those pitchfork-carrying things in hell? More like human-eating monsters. They'd go down to villages, snatching people up and gobbling down. That kind of tale. Demons snatching up people is what this onikakushi really means. They said that the curse and being demoned away happened together. What does that mean? I already knew about that, the mysterious deaths happening 5 years in a row. I feel like I read that slightly wrong. Whatever. But I didn't know there were people disappearing for those same 5 years. The cursed and being demoned away happened together? First time I heard of that. Is that how it is, Mayabata-san? That's what I want to know. I heard Rena and Mion talking. They said that if it was really Oyashiro-sama's curse, then both the curse and demoning away would happen. Oyashi-san began hemming and hawing on the other end of the receiver. Maybe something about that came to mind? My bad-san. Do you know the first incident? The murder by dismemberment? Yeah. One of the 6 perpetrators is still on the run, right? Hypothetically. What if he isn't on the run, but was demoned away? Huh? It was an outrageous hypothesis from Oishi-san. The incident 4 years ago was the particularly ghastly one. The police already knew the perpetrators, so they posted tons of wanted posters with his face on them. They staked out various locations and investigated every possible escape route he had. But after 4 years, there wasn't even a hint of where he might be. Unless the police were completely incompetent. Even if it was an outrageous hypothesis, I couldn't simply laugh it off. Then what about the incident the next year, when the man who supported the project and his wife both died in an accident? No, actually, it was only the husband who died in an accident. His wife's body never surfaced. Unless you find the body, then it's considered a missing person by law. At the time of the incident, with the river below the cliff being muddy rapids, the police divers had searched every branch off the main stream of the river for dozens of miles. But in the end, they weren't able to find her body. But that's just them not being able to find the body. She's still dead, right? Isn't it different from her being demoned away? We cannot say someone is dead without their body. Until a certain number of years pass, by law she's treated as still alive. I'm not sure if it was right to call that being demoned away. The wife is missing. At least that part was reality. How about the 3rd year? The Shinto priest died of illness, and his wife committed suicide? My Abada-san. That's actually the exact same scenario. The wife had supposedly thrown herself into the bottomless marsh deep in the forest around Hinamizawa, meaning it's all circumstantial evidence. They simply found her suicide note in front of the marsh. The diver was able to recover a few remnants, but they weren't able to find a body. The investigative headquarters believed that she had faked her death and was still alive somewhere. I'm not sure if we could call these cases as being demoned away. It's just as you've said, every year, one person does go missing. The incident this year, the one with Tomitake-san, has gone missing. Then what about the incident with the housewife beaten to death? He went missing. I believe the perpetrator was caught, right? Yeah, we arrested him. He was just a miscreant with a record of narcotics abuse. He admitted to the crime while being questioned about a different incident. But, well, you see, after he was arrested, a child from the victim's home went missing. It's still under investigation as to whether the disappearance had anything to do with the crime. But you said you caught him, right? Did he have an accomplice? No idea. It's considered a separate case. Moreover, we can't even check now, because while under investigation, that man, he died in his holding cell. He swallowed a spork and choked to death. That's a choice way to die. Just swallow a spork. It's not known whether it was an accident or suicide, meaning, for the last 5 years, there's always one person who dies and one who goes missing. That's about right. No, actually, I'm surprised as well. I never realized they had that in common. I cannot believe that this could help lead to the closing of those incidents. It was just something they had in common. Could it be that those demoned away have something in common? Oishi-san mumbled as he seemed to be thinking about it. So I summarized the events. The first year was the dam employee. Second year was the wife of a dam project supporter. Third year was the wife of the Shinto priest. Fourth year was the victim's family's child. And the fifth year was the victim's girlfriend, I guess. It doesn't seem like there's anything that connects them. For the exception of the first year, wives and girlfriends, those do stand out. Wives and girlfriends, those do stand out. It does seem like there are a lot. Then that means the fourth year's victim's child was different. It would have really stood out if they were all married couples, except it's not just married couples, but parents and children as well. Come to think of it, I believe Tomitake-san had told me The younger brother is alive and has moved, if I recall correctly. The child that went missing in the 4th year, who were they? Apparently he was quite mature, 1 year older than you. His name was Satoshi Hojo-san. Huh? Satoshi? I remembered that name. Didn't they tell me Satoshi transferred out last year? It was at your school up until last year. Didn't I tell you anything about him? Got to think of it, when I transferred in, I believe they said my seat belonged to a recent transfer student. Then where I sat once belonged to the one who was deemed away. It was his seat? I recalled the cold sensation that came from that desk. It made my hair stand on end. This string of mysterious deaths. No, Oyashiro-sama's curse. I now knew how it connected to me. That chilling sensation, it was the feeling of Oyashiro-sama caressing the back of my neck. Oyashiro-sama's curse, huh? Could Oyashiro-sama's curse really exist? In all honesty, I was beginning to believe it, and I was scared. That was why I wanted to say it was the plot crafted by man and not the work of a curse. But the more I dug into it, the less likely that seemed. No, the more I dug, the more mysterious it became. If I kept digging, eventually, I'd reach the point where I'd learned something I really shouldn't know. To either be none the wiser or to seek an answer I may regret. Which one would I be happier with? Maybe it'll be me next time. My execution could only be delayed for 1 year. That was when I remembered. Rena. Rena said she may be the next victim of the curse. You mean Rena Ryugu-san? She transferred in last year and she's your classmate, isn't she? These incidents really might be a bit too disturbing for a girl. She's not just scared, is she? It wasn't that. She said it might be her, next. She said it in a way that made me think she had a concrete reason behind it. I felt like she was convinced. Almost as if, you could say, she was frightened. Her sudden change in demeanor. That someone who looked like Rena but wasn't Rena. That might be unrelated. All the strange things that I felt from Rena today came back to me. I see. Then I'll be doing a bit of investigating on this end. Please continue your observations of Ryugu-san, Mayabara-san. Are you asking me to keep Rena under surveillance? That's not what I mean, Mayabara-san. I just want you to watch out for your friend so she doesn't end up the next victim. At that moment, just as my mouth was agape because I was so immersed with his mature, clever way with words. Impressed, not immersed. Close enough. Knock, knock. A sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. In an instant, I had pointlessly covered up the end of the receiver. Keiichi, got the door, please. On the other side of the door, I heard my father's oddly upbeat voice. What could it be? It's so late. Sorry, my dad just came in. Can we leave it at this for tonight? Yeah. My apologies again for calling so late. If you find out anything else, please let me know. I'll tell you if I make any progress on this end. Well then, have a pleasant evening. Keiichi, hurry and open up. Daddy's got his hands full. What is Dad doing? I had stayed in the same position while on the phone the whole time, so my joints were aching. When I opened the door, I saw my father was standing there with a tray. On that tray, cookies and 2 cups of black tea, a fairly fancy spread for our household. There was even sugar and lemon slices on the side, everything you could ask for. This was quite the show of hospitality. What's going on, Dad? What's all this for? Come now, don't play around, Keiichi. I'm coming in. Dad was in high spirits and had a smirk on his face. But for my entire life, I've never seen him act this hospitable. What had gotten into him? So, what were you talking about? I jumped. It's not something I had to keep from my father. But how could I explain to him I was talking to a detective, I'm assuming he was, this late at night? Nothing much. Just a friend. I don't mean the phone. She was here, wasn't she? Rena-chan? Question mark. she wasn't here. Come now, don't try to keep it from me. She just came over to play. You two were chatting away, so I thought I'd bring some tea. But looks like I just missed her. Ah, geez, indeed. I had no idea what Dad was talking about, but a cold sweat dripped down my back. How long were we talking? Rena-chan went upstairs about half after, so it was close to an hour, I guess. You saw her come up to the second floor? Yeah, I did. I also told her that your room was the door down the hall up the stairs. Rena came to my house about an hour ago. Dad met her at the door and called out to me on the second floor. I probably didn't hear him because I was so focused on my conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't reply, but I knew I was in my room, so he had her come inside. Then told her my room was on the second floor. She thanked my dad and went upstairs. Then about an hour passed. She passed by my dad just as he was bringing up the tea and left. She came upstairs about an hour passed. Then passed my dad and returned home. Then after she came upstairs, and until she left, where was Rena? There's only a short hallway between my room and the stairs, meaning Rena had, for about an hour, in the hall. No, she couldn't have been standing in front of my door all that time. The door to my room wasn't particularly thick. You could easily hear everything being said inside. All of the ominous things and all the nonsense I spoke to Oishi-san about began rushing through my head. Honey, don't tease him. More importantly, you need to clean up your studio. It's a mess again. Mom yelled up at Dad from downstairs. Dad left the tray with me and went downstairs with a disappointed chortle. I followed my dad out of the room with my eyes. I looked down on the floor around the doorway where Rena might have stood all that time. Just now, as I was talking to Oishi-san, with my back turned, Rena was standing a mere 6 feet away. The whole time, she was social distancing, buddy. Hey, 6 feet away. All that time, in this dimly lit doorway? What did she see? What did she hear? For what reason? As the steam from the two teacups ominously wafted and twisted, the aroma of black tea filled my room. Now that's nice. Were you expecting it to have been Tomoitake-san that died? Because out of all your guesses, that was not it. I don't like that achievement. Thank you. Honestly, I just didn't think about Tomoitake at all. That's fair. He is kind of forgettable, not gonna lie. We definitely got to more interesting parts of story this time, so that is definitely in time. Honestly, it's kind of fun going over the visual novel after having watched more recently the newer anime, because they actually follow really closely to the details, and if I recall correctly, the original anime did kind of skip a lot, which is probably part of why it was so confusing to just watch all in one go. But the anime is definitely a lot closer to the visual novel, which is cool.